both the paddle shifters, and you hit up to confirm. Will it understeer? Did not. All right, so car number 3 this week, we're driving a 2016 Mercedes AMG CLA45. This is a neat car. It's got the most horsepower out of a 4-cylinder motor ever. It's got even more in Europe now for 2020 and stuff, but this is 375 horsepower from a 2-liter 4-cylinder motor, massive turbo. Cruising on the highway at 84 miles per hour on the GPS. We've been getting 26 miles per gallon. So that's amazing for a car that's damn near 400 horsepower and is all-wheel drive. It's a double clutch gearbox, 7-speed, I'm not used to that. That takes some getting used to for sure. But first impressions, it's comfortable. I like the seats. The wind noise is good. Road noise isn't bad. Interior does have some rattles on bumpier roads and constructions like that. Interior does not feel as premium as the BMW. Very adjustable seats and everything like that. But you know, it just feels a little cheapy in here. Granted, this is a 16, so it's a couple years old, so I'm sure it's gotten better. But the power is pretty much there, and it accelerates like it's on rails with the all-wheel drive system. It has red seat belts, which is a really cute feature. Yeah, everything in here has been pretty intuitive, except that it's an automatic that has a parking brake you have to mess with. That's a new one for me, because it's a 7-speed, you know. Put the GoPro on this one, so we can get some more action shots. So we got a V6 Mustang up here in front of us. That's not gonna really slow us down once we get out of this corner. This thing handles really impressively so far. Corner's very flat. I'm pretty sure this one doesn't have any smart diffs going on. I think it just has a helical limited slip in the front. Obviously all-wheel drive, 50-50 split most of the time. It uses the brakes to control some other of the split. No, there's a Merc up there. Man, it is an absolute peach. This engine makes some great noises. It's got to have a massive turbo on it. Insane amount of boost. Here's the power for you guys. And it's a pretty good 60 to 100 time right there for a fucking 2-cylinder or a 4-cylinder 2-liter motor. Very nice feature. You do get a little bit of like a baffling humming noise. I don't know if it's the exhaust or what at highway speed. It doesn't feel super luxurious in here though. It's a little drony, if that makes sense. 4-way lumbar support is quickly becoming a requirement for my next car. The BMW had it and this one did, and it's an excellent feature to behold. There's a version of this same motor now. I think it's the European spec only, unfortunately, making like an insane 420 horsepower out of a 2-liter. We don't get that here, unfortunately. The most we can get is a 2020 CLS 4MATIC Plus or whatever, and it's around like 380 horsepower. So you can hear a little bit of road noise right here. It's not that bad, honestly. It could be a lot worse in here. Our first attempt at trying out the crazy launch control system on this car. It is a really kind of convoluted sort of system. We'll mute this radar detector for now. So to use launch control, you gotta go into sport mode, foot hard on the brake, pull in both paddles, race start, paddle up, depress gas, release brake. Holy shit! Man, Man, that was impressive. Oh, there's a cop. And Florida Fish and Wildlife. Oh, how's that loud? Oh, a dump truck. Shit. Went off the road, tangled up in the wires. Jesus, mate. Bad day. All right. Little understeery. It's primarily a front-wheel drive car, but I was putting the power down hard in that corner, and it definitely started to understeer. Very interesting. And we'll keep recording. Something funny might happen. This whole primarily front-wheel drive thing, the front end's definitely a little heavier, stuff like that. The thing about this car that really makes it unique to me is the fact that it's doing 0 to 60 in about 3.8 seconds by my calculation. I heard, you know, hey, it's rated for 4.1. It might actually be a little faster than that. It's significantly faster than that. It launches hard. Pretty amazing. It's not terribly refined in here. You've got some creaks and some rattles and some pops. You've got some wind noise, you got some road noise. These tires are in decent shape. It's not like the tires are really bad or anything. So, yeah, they definitely traded the power for refinement. You can hear this motor at idle too. It's kind of a noisy motor, noisy turbo system at idle. Wheel drive and everything, it's not much heavier than my Camaro. It's actually maybe a little lighter based on how this one's configured. It's right in the same ballpark of weight, like 3,600 pounds. Listen to the sound levels and look how it's idling. That's in Sport Plus. I'm gonna go to Sport. Idle's a little lower. Now it sounds really rough though. And then we go to Comfort. It's funny how it actually raises the idle in Sport and Sport Plus. That's interesting. It's very noisy sitting still at Sport Plus, even with the exhaust sound button off. Don't find this button to do a whole lot, honestly. And this little navigation thing is sweet, not as sweet as the thing in here. This is why you do a good test drive on a used car. This is Mercedes crap. So these stickers are wrapped and they're peeling off in a couple different places. That's the white plastic, and it just feels really cheap. Seeing that kind of stuff in a couple spots, and there's vents and everything. It's very chintzy. There's a lot of rattles coming from this up part of the roof. I don't know if that's particular to the sunroof one. The seats are pretty and the red seat belts are pretty and they're comfortable. I wish this model had the AC seats. This transmission's also weird. It's a double clutch 7-speed. I don't have a whole lot of experience with these German double clutches, but it's kind of clunky, like rolling on it like 5 miles an hour, 10 miles an hour. You got to use manual mode. If you expect to just put your foot down it to figure it out, you're wrong. It's not going to. And it's weird that it doesn't roll when you take your foot off the gas and stuff. It's a very interesting transmission. But it does shift fast, and that's its job. So also, so while I'm at it, this one doesn't have it, but the newer CLA45 has a drift mode where it can send all of its power to the rear wheels. This one doesn't have that. This one's primarily front wheel drive, and then it's got a drive shaft going to the back with a clutch system in the rear diff, and when it detects front wheel slip or more power is needed in the back, high speed cornering, etc., it sends power to the back. But the most power it can ever send to the back is 50-50, because it has no way to engage or disengage the front wheels. The mechanism that drives the rear drive shaft is driven off of the ring gear on the front differential. So the front wheels always get the power first. So it's primarily a front wheel drive car, therefore, you know, a little bit of understeer, a little bit of resistance and stuff like that. So it launches great, but it's not as joyous to drive in like a twisty road as like the BMW or even my Camaro for that matter. But man, this thing smokes both of them off the line. How's the seats back there? I haven't even got back there yet.
There's a little more room than I expected, to be honest. I expected
plenty of headroom.
Yeah.
Ready for it. I didn't actually use launch control. Looking at this Mercedes witchcraft engine, we've noticed a few things that are kind of funky looking. This insulation's like hanging down kind of weird. All this like goop in here is kind of weird. There's belt dressing slung everywhere. Here's the turbo. It's a pretty good sized turbo for a 2-liter. Give you some scale. Here's my hand. I'm gonna burn myself, but it's pretty big. But air box comes in here, and then it goes straight into the turbo, and then it comes straight into this contraption right here. So there's no intercooler. I guess that's considered an aftercooler. Then it goes in the intake manifold. But somehow they're getting near 400 horsepower out of a 2-liter motor with one big fucking turbo, one big twin scroll turbo. So very interesting.